I know it's fun to dunk on the motion control craze that was ushered in by the Wii, but when something different takes off in the way the Wii did, it certainly gives developers the tools to try interesting things with their software. SEGA was a big supporter of the Wii, and as a result some of their more interesting titles fell by the wayside, due to not quite nailing the landing. In this video we're going to explore 5 lesser known SEGA titles for the Wii and see if they're worth a play, or if they fall into the trend-chasing shovelware the console is so infamous for. Conduit 2 is the 2011 follow-up to the Conduit. The Conduit was positioned as the Wii's tentpole FPS, looking to have the same success as franchises like Halo and Call of Duty, but in the Wii space. Developed by High Voltage using their powerful Quantum 3 engine, the game features graphical effects like bump mapping, reflection, refraction, gloss and detail mapping that the more powerful consoles of the time were more used to. Unfortunately, the original game was heavily criticised for poor AI, weak storytelling and corridor-like locations. Conduit 2 looked to put more focus onto the story, as well as opening up the environments for more dynamic action. It also features Motion Plus support, which gives players better precision when using the Wiimote control setup. It's still not a groundbreaking FPS by any means, but it's a solid little title that definitely improved on the original, but sadly didn't sell very well as the negative reception to the first game had already damaged the franchise's reputation. Which is a real shame because there's a solid FPS in here for fans of the genre. The Wii was a fantastic machine for rail shooters, as it didn't require additional peripherals like light guns to support those type of games. SEGA had great success with a variety of rail shooters on Wii, like House of the Dead 2 and 3 Return, Ghost Squad and House of the Dead Overkill. So it was a great move by the publisher to raid their arcade heritage and bring over more previously arcade exclusive rail shooters. Gunblade NY and LA Machineguns were the 2 titles SEGA chose, and both games see you fighting off a terrorist invasion while flying around in various vehicles and firing a fully automatic turret at anything that moves. It's extremely shallow, but extremely fun, and fans of holding a button whilst pointing at things to make them die will have a great time. It has the same po-faced silliness that the best SEGA arcade titles do, and it was miraculous that these titles got ports to the Wii in 2010 when they never even saw Saturn or Dreamcast ports. Tournament of Legends is another high voltage title powered by their Quantum 3 engine, and as a result it's quite the looker. However, this title is a fighting game in the Punch-Out mould, which sees you swinging your Wiimote and nunchuck around to defeat various mythical warriors set in a weird alternate Greek/Roman timeline. There's a big focus on timing your attacks and looking for your opponent's tells so that you can take advantage of their openings. You can even regenerate armour and health between rounds. Unfortunately, it falls down in the same way a lot of motion control fighters do, in that its controls are a tad unresponsive and it becomes a bit aggravating to play as a result. This is a real shame as well because the game is clearly very well made, but it takes a lot of patience to get used to its quite taxing controls that are only made more cumbersome with the addition of the motion control.
In a battle for the ages!
I am a goddess!
Choices will be made! Strength will be tested!
What a rush!
The weak will fall! Only one will survive!
The edge of technology is here!
The threads of fate are in your hands!
Minigame collections are the Wii's bread and butter, and it certainly takes something special for another one to stand out. But Let's Tap does an amazing job of putting together a unique collection of minigames and an extremely novel method of input. Let's Tap requires you to place a Wiimote on a flat surface and tap next to it in order to send vibrations to the Wiimote, which registers an input. Light taps and heavy taps are the main inputs, and the minigames do a fantastic job of finding lots of interesting uses for these controls. Surprisingly, the Wii is actually very sensitive to this control input as well. I've found a Wiimote in the rubber jacket on a nice robust surface will always wield great results, and it makes Let's Tap one of the most original titles on the Wii, and one that's absolutely worth checking out. It has one of the catchiest soundtracks on the system as well. Unfortunately, our final game does fall into the age-old trend-chasing habit that most Wii developers fell into. Wacky World of Sports is a shameless shovelware minigame collection where you can mow lawns, race furniture, sling tuna, and even iron clothing while freefalling. Its big gimmick is its humour and variety, and while they certainly help the title stand out, it soon becomes apparent that the minigames are pretty standard stuff just dressed up in different clothing. It's by no means a bad game, and the various events control well and generally feel very well built, which is a rarity with shovelware minigame collections that often feel like they're falling apart at the seams. But unfortunately, Wacky World of Sports just doesn't do enough to stand out in an extremely crowded market.